Welcome to the Canadian Bro Show. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show, and we are celebrating a year and a half as a new At the Canadian Bro Show podcast. 135 videos or episodes, if you will, in the last year and a half. And we have a very special episode today. Again, my name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show, and I want to introduce the co-host of the most, Mr. Johnny Leister, who is going to be taking over the host of today's show because of his prolific writing talents and the two gentlemen that are with us. Johnny, go ahead and introduce these two fine gentlemen.
Well, our very special guests today hail from New York City. Happy Memorial Day weekend, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
We have on the left Michael Vecchione. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. And Mr. Jimmy Dennedy. And Michael is an author, and I hope I get this right. He was also chief of the Rackets Division of the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. Now, Michael, I'd like to start with you. I'd like you to tell us a bit about your experience, your position, and what your responsibilities were in that job.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Paul and John, for having both of us on today, and it's a pleasure. This is our, at least my initial foray into podcasting in Canada. So I'm really
cool.
I'm really happy that we're here with you guys. And
The honor's ours.
so let me answer your question, John. I started in the DA's office a long time ago. 1973 is when I started. I left. I got a job in the DA's office after law school. I had been there as an intern during the summer. And then when I graduated from law school, I was hired and rose through the ranks. I was, at some point, I ran a bureau that was called the Major Offense Bureau. And it was not necessarily homicides. It could have been homicides. It could have been gang related. It was a very varied group of cases that I had. And when I was the head of that bureau is when I met my buddy Jimmy Dennedy. We had a really horrific murder happen in the streets of Brooklyn, in which two police officers from the 79th precinct, which is the precinct that Jimmy worked in, were murdered, just killed in cold blood on the street by an individual who had been in a group called the Black Liberation Army, which was a group that had been killing police officers in New York City over the course of the 70s, 80s, etc. And he also had been in Attica Prison, which is a very strong, a very big and very secure prison.
That's for the baddest of the bad, right?
Yeah, he was bad. That's where and he started a riot in that prison, and there were people killed, guards killed. He was a bad guy, a really bad guy. And he was in Brooklyn one night with a fellow inmate from, they were both out, of course, a fellow inmate from Attica. And we believed that they were there to meet with another one of their cohorts to plan some robberies. And these two cops who were on the street stopped them and were going to question them. And what happened was the two guys opened fire and wound up killing both of these police officers. And one of the bad guys was hit with a bullet. We believe, I don't know, Jimmy, correct me, do we believe that it was a bullet from his cohort or one of the cops? I just don't remember.
It was from Norman Cirillo's gun.
Yeah, it was from one of the police officers. So what happens is he leaves the scene, this bad guy. I'm avoiding his name because I think it's, I don't want you guys to get into any kind of issues, and we don't need any issues.
Oh, thanks,
no
Mike.
with us. Yeah, he's no longer with us. He died. So,
right.
But so he kills the cops on the street. He limps across the street to his car and takes off. Now, believe it or not, he had a bullet in his leg, and it turns out that it was a police officer's bullet. And Jimmy was at the precinct talking to the desk officer. He was returning a pair of boots showing a pair of boots to a friend of his at the precinct when it came over the radio that this incident had occurred. And Jimmy got in his car, drove to the scene. The cops had already been taken. The injured cops had already been taken away by other police officers to the hospital. And what Jimmy found on the street was the dead cohort of the shooter. He got in his car, drove to the hospital because he was going to give blood if necessary to the 2 injured cops. And on the way, he notices an automobile accident, and it stuck in his head. When he got to the hospital, the 2 officers were dead. They were deceased by that point. And Jimmy knew that there was nothing more to do there, but he grabbed one of his fellow officers and said, "Let's go visit that car scene." There was something that told him, and he has he played a game when he was a child that kind of stuck in his head. This thing stuck in his head, and he'll tell you when you talk to him. They drove to the scene, and to make a very long story short, what did they find? They found the guy with the bullet in his leg had crashed his car because he lost the blood. And what happens is they bring a witness from the shooting scene to this car crash scene, and she identifies this guy as the guy that killed the police officers.
Wow.
So that's the case. That is the case. And keep in mind is that the setting in New York at that point was horrible for police officers because there were cops being killed left and right, particularly by this group. And Jimmy made the arrest. He was off duty, and it was by his wiles and by his experience that he went back to that scene because the EMTs, the medical people, were just going to let this guy go. He refused medical attention, and they were ready to pack up and leave him at the scene. So that's how I met Jimmy. I met that case, and we became fast friends. Our families know each other. We've done a lot of things together, and it became something that that out of tragedy came this what I consider to be a very, very positive relationship that Jimmy and I have. And
like that.
I did these books. I did many other books, as you guys know. And he called me one day, and he said, "I'd like to do a book about my life." And he told me about, I knew about his life on the street. He was a very active cop. And I said, "Jimmy, everybody does books like that. And I don't know." And then he told me the second half of his life, which is the prison ministry, where he now was going into prisons to minister to the kind of people that he was locking up for the 20 years that he was a cop. So I said, "You buried the lead, Jim." That's the story. And from that conversation came Hard Guys Cry, which is the book that is out now digitally and will be out on June 2nd. So
congratulations.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's awesome. You're a great storyteller, Michael. Really paint a picture.
Say it again.
You really paint.
Sorry.
Great storyteller.
Thank you. And I hope that when people read the book, they realize that I like my storytelling. So it was I've said this many times over the last couple of weeks. It was an honor to do this book. It really was. I mean,
and you guys have been friends for how long with that, Michael? Almost 50 years? 46 years, Johnny.
That's amazing.
We got him by 6 years, bro.
Well, there you go. Okay, Mike. Very good. Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, my next question is for Jimmy. Jimmy, nice to meet you, sir. We respect you so much. Did you always know that you wanted to be a police officer? And when you were a boy, what was the one aspect of police work and law enforcement that you respected the most?
Well, my family goes back in the New York City Police Department to 1882.
Holy moly.
Right? And then...
what is that, the Irish Mafia?
Yeah. And my son is on the police department in New York City. He's a deputy inspector. He is in charge of Manhattan South narcotics, which means that half of the city of New York, any narcotic activity, the southern half is his.
Wow.
He has about, 100 guys, 70 guys working under him. They're buying drugs, making cases, So we don't dance, we don't sing, we don't dance, we don't cook. We do what we do.
Yeah, and do it well. Do it well.
That's terrific. Okay, thank you so much, Jimmy. Okay, Michael, my next question for you is, I want to talk about your books. I'm also an author, a self-published author. Not to beat my chest about it. Tell us about Crooked Brooklyn. I love that title, by the way. It really rolls off the tongue, tripping.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? You can just imagine what that means.
So I spent 2 stints in the DA's office. When I graduated law school, my first 8 years as a lawyer were in the DA's office. Then I went to private practice for about another 10 or 12 years. And then I came back to the DA's office when a new DA was elected. And I had spent various time. I took over the homicide bureau. Then I took over the trial division. And then finally, I got what I considered to be the best spot in the entire office. I took over the rackets division. And the rackets division was initially, rackets, mob stuff, but I expanded it. We had sex trafficking in there, mortgage fraud in there, environmental crimes in there. And when at some point in not that long after 9/11, quite frankly, I get a call from a lawyer friend, a lawyer who was my boss at one point, and he said that he's got a client who is a lawyer himself and needs to speak to someone in the DA's office. The DA assigned me to the case because this lawyer was alleging that a judge who he was in front of was corrupt and was taking money. And this guy had a case in front of him in which a young baby, almost a little older than a baby, was hurt in an automobile accident with the baby's mother. And they settled the case in front of this judge. And the judge said to the lawyer at some point when they settled it that he said, in New York, the judge has to sign a document indicating that the money that the kid gets goes to the kid as opposed to it being diverted by the parents. Yeah. So in order to get that signature, the judge called the lawyer in and essentially told him that he wanted money in order to do it. He said, "How much are you making from the case?" And the lawyer said, well, he told him a third of several $1 million. And he said, and the kid's making a lot of money. So the lawyer didn't need to be told anything more than that. He knew what the judge wanted. And he said to the judge, how much? And he said he wants $250,000 to sign the document. The lawyer agreed. He said, okay. And the judge signed the document, and months passed, several months. And then finally, right after the new year, the lawyer gets a call from the judge and says, come see me. And he walks into the judge's chambers, and the judge says to him, I haven't forgotten. He said, essentially, where's my money? So the lawyer was able to kind of haggle him down. And then he went to his lawyer, who was my friend, my old boss, who came to us. And what we did is we wired up the lawyer, had him bring money to the judge, had him discuss the whole thing on tape. And then ultimately we arrested this judge. It was the first time. And then ultimately I convicted this guy, by the way. Pled guilty.
Gosh, that sounds like the Untouchables. I mean, it's so cool. I love this stuff. I can listen to stuff all day long. It just makes me so happy that there's so many good men like you in the world.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, man. It's refreshing in this corrupt world, and specifically in the jobs that you guys have been doing and have done for so long, that that there's good people out there.
Paul, we're interviewing Elliot Ness and Dirty Harry. Pretty cool, right? Pretty effing cool.
Yeah, okay, I think so.
Is for Jimmy. Jimmy, tell us about... Tell you. Oh, sure. Go ahead, Michael.
John, let me just finish one part because I think it's important.
Sure.
When this judge was sentenced, there was a young woman who was in court herself on another case watching, and she saw that the judge went to jail. And she came to us the next day because she had a problem with a different judge who was taking money, who wanted money from her. And because of the first case, she came to us, and we were able to wire up the second judge's chambers. We got him on tape, we got him on video, etc. And that led us then to a corrupt politician, which led us to a second politician who was corrupt, which led us to police officers.
It's like a whack-a-mole.
Yeah, and an FBI agent. So in any event, so the book Crooked Brooklyn tells the story of that 7 or 8 year period of time when all of those cases were.
I'm going to check it out.
So.
I can't wait to. I'm an avid reader, Michael, and I can't wait to check out your books. They're definitely going into my quote-unquote playlist.
And by the way, at the end of the episode, gentlemen, you let Johnny shamelessly plug his own writing. He actually, you already told him?
Well, no.
No, but it's very similar to what you guys have been through. His character is a private investigator. Good. And by the way, when you were gone getting mic'd up, Johnny, Jimmy actually, after doing the chaplain services, has been a private investigator for 35 years.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, Jimmy, my next question is for you. Now, I hope this isn't a cliche, but tell us about your first day on the beat. Were you nervous? Were you scared? Were you excited?
It was a tough part of town. You know what I mean? It was an inner city, and there was I think 300,000 people in a 1.5 mile square, and it wasn't one white registered voter, and I'm pretty white, so it's you stand out a bit, but the people, the people are good people, but there's a lot of very, very bad people there too. And it becomes work. Every day is busy. It's a lot of shootings, stabbings, people hurt each other. Unfortunately, a lot of cops can get hurt, and they do get hurt, so it's a challenging job, but it's a very, you grow up fast.
Right.
It's like being in boot camp. I was a Marine. It's like,
really?
Wow.
Yeah. It's like
being in
boot camp, you know what I mean? And then you're thrown into the war zone. You know what I mean? It's what you learned in boot camp doesn't really apply so much. It's what you learn on the street. It's what it gives you.
So you had the best of both worlds, really, because you knew the street already, right?
Jimmy, do you remember anything specific about your first day that sticks out in your mind? Any particular incident?
Like you didn't get shot the first day.
Well, I was in the police academy, right? I was dating my girlfriend, who's now my wife, Nora Lee, and I parked the car in front of my house, and they gave us a badge, but no gun yet, right? You had to finish doing your qualification. I'm going to go in my house. I got to go in my house, and I see these two guys walking up the street. It was nighttime, right? And they're trying car doors and breaking into cars. And the street had trees on it. So they were on the other side between the car and the trees. And I said, oh my goodness, and they're walking towards me. So I went down. My family's house had a little bit of a stairway before the steps. So I was down the cellarway, and I hear them talking. The guy says, yeah. He says, the black Buick, we're going to take it. I said, oh my goodness, now my heart is pumping, So I have my badge now, it's like Popeye with the spinach. I go out, and I go up to the guys and I say, you're under arrest. Well, this big,
so cool.
Cool guy, he runs away. The guy in the car locks the door. I can't get in. So I went ballistic. I start kicking the window in. So he comes out. I put him on the car to search him, right? So he had just finished learning how to search somebody. You look for bulges, guns, right? So as I'm searching him, on his right side, there's a bulge. As soon as I touch the bulge, like he turns on me, and I whack him a shot in the ribs. He kind of folds over. I slam his head on the car.
Love it.
Right?
Love it.
And there was a lady who was the biggest gossiper on the block, and she was up in the window, and she says, what's going on? So her name was Mrs. Farrell. I said, Mrs. Farrell, just call the police, tell them a probationary police officer is making an arrest. So what she does is, first she calls my house, and she says, Jimmy is in a fight with 3 guys with guns. Right? Then she calls the police. Well, I have this guy, and this guy's, not doing well right now, right? My father pushes me over like in a hockey fight. You check the guy, and you start working on the guy. He pushes me out of the way, and he starts banging this guy.
All right, Dad.
So I grab my
I
grabbed my father. I said, no, Dad. Now my brother, who was a teenager, then comes out, and he starts banging this guy.
This is a family affair.
Yes.
So hey, don't mess with the Irish, man. I'm telling you.
Apparently, goodness.
So when the police get there, it's an arrest. I got to make the arrest, and these 2 detectives, very seasoned guys, and they're very out of a central casting, had their hats on and trench coats. And he says, "Kid," he says, "ordinarily we would take this arrest, but what you have here is what we call chopped meat." He said, "We'll help you with the paperwork, but it's your arrest." So that was my introduction
Cool.
to
Wow.
the police department, and it
Talk
was
about a rite of passage.
yeah, but it was kind of a prelude what was going to happen for the rest of my 20 years.
Did you get the gun the next day?
What's that?
Did you get your gun the next day?
No. You had to wait a few.
Have you did you ever fire your sidearm in the line of duty?
Many
times?
Many
times? Because I've heard a lot of police officers say, I worked for 20 years and I never drew my gun.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
You
That's
did
true.
many times.
Let me take. Ready for this? We're jumping all over the place, but ready for this? I had two guys. It was January 2nd, and it was 3:25 in the morning, and my house was downstairs, was the living room, dining room, kitchen, and it was a stairway, and there was 3 bedrooms, and all the houses were connected. So I was
Row houses.
right, and my 2-year-old son at that time was between us, and down a long hallway was my 12-year-old son. In between was a stairway and a bathroom. I hear my puppy barking downstairs, and I said, "What's he barking at?" Then I hear creaking, like an old house. You hear the wood creaking, and I said, "Well, it could be my son, Jimmy, who's now the inspector, right? Maybe he's going to the bathroom." I said, but I hear it's an adult. You can hear the weight,
Right.
I stand up, right, and I had 2 guns on my armoire. These guys come in my bedroom with guns.
Oh my
What?
God.
Right? So the shooting starts in the house.
Oh,
So and they run down the stairs, and I'm shooting, and they turn it, and I'm shooting.
unbelievable.
As we run out, the guy's running in and out of cars, and I'm shooting him. Every time he turns at me, I shoot, right? And the car windows are going, they shatter like the car windows.
This
Right.
is so exciting to listen to.
So
This is
listen,
more exciting than any movie or TV show.
so at one time we used to help train a fighter, so I had made $10,000. Don't tell the government, right? And then what I did is I finished my basement. And I had a girl down there, Carol Lee, and she was down there with a boyfriend. But I told her, nobody sleeps over now, Carol Lee. I don't want any boys sleeping over the house. She's okay, I'm Mr. Dennedy. All right. So when the shooting starts, right, now we're outside the house, the shooting's continuing outside the house, right? He comes running out of the basement, big tall guy, naked as the day he was born. He says, what's going on? What's going on? He had his gun in his hand, I said, give me a gun, Billy. Boom, I grabbed his gun. I chased this guy, dropped 6 more rounds at the guy. You know what I mean? So it was like a crazy, crazy thing, But
I was going to ask 6 it must have been 6 shooters, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I was wound up. I fired 17 rounds that night.
Wow.
So yes,
Incredible.
And you didn't get hit. You didn't get hit.
No. And then there was 2 neighbors across the street, ladies. They used to live together. Their dog didn't like my dog, so they start telling the people on the block. Ready for this? Jimmy Dennedy caught a naked man coming out of his house, and he was shooting at him.
Now that's a headline. Very good. Thank you.
And what do you say when he was holding his gun? I was like, which one are you talking about?
Let's keep it family friendly.
Yeah, well,
Michael,
of course, it's a family show.
Thank you. That's a great story. Okay,
Yeah,
Michael,
good show, Jim.
For you. It's a little bit esoteric, but if you had a magic wand, now you've been an insider for many years, what would you change about the American justice system?
Talking to me?
Or the American criminal justice system?
Michael or
One of
me?
us?
What would you change? Like right
Back to
now.
Michael?
Who you talking?
Back to
Who you
Michael.
talking to, John? Me? Michael?
Yeah.
What?
Michael, I think he's meaning you, bro.
Or either one can answer. Michael, you're up
Okay.
next.
Well, very simple. Right now, I would change the bail laws back to the way they used to be when I was a kid. When I started in the DA's office, where you go into a courtroom and a guy is charged with a serious crime, and you have to. And at that point, that a judge is going to set bail. Whether he makes it or not is his problem. But now, the way it is, you go into a courtroom after a serious crime, and most of the time, these guys are let go because the law has changed in New York and many other parts of the country in the United States. And there is no bail. There is no punishment. And I have raised 2 sons. And the one thing that you know is that when the kid does something wrong, punishment is a good lesson.
Yeah, of course.
Is a good.
It's human nature.
And take away his bicycle, take away his whatever, and the consequence is that don't do it again.
Right.
Otherwise,
right.
it's going to happen.
Otherwise, they'll do it again.
That's
just the way people are
what I would
wired.
think.
I'm just wired that way.
I would change the bail law. I would change the bail laws.
That's a good one. What about you, Jimmy? What would you, if there's one thing that you felt that needed to be changed, is there something that's on the top of your head?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm retired quite a few years now, but my son is in the narcotics business.
Yeah.
They buy people, they put buys into them.
Yeah.
Right? And when they close the case down, they arrest them, and then they're out again.
Yeah.
Then they can buy them again.
It's a revolving door, right?
Insane. And a lot of guys are bad guys. I mean, they're for real. In the court system, it's paperwork. It's how many times he was arrested, his criminal record. But when you're on the street, these guys will hurt you.
Oh yeah.
They will hurt you. You know what I mean? So why if it's like catching, like, say, a wild animal, and you bring him to the zoo and they let him out, and you got to catch him again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
And he'll do the same thing over and over again.
Very good.
And you see it.
Yeah, you think that's bad in the States, guys? You should see the Canadian judicial system.
We're very liberal. We're almost communist.
Yeah.
There's more holes in the Canadian judicial system than Swiss cheese. It is terrible.
Yeah, I'm a security guard, and I talked to a lot of police officers, and they've told me many times over the years. I arrested this guy last week. I arrested this guy yesterday. I arrested this guy 5 hours ago. I've heard the stories my whole life. Yeah. Okay, Jimmy, my next question is for you. I'm really fascinated by this because, as I said earlier, I'm a very avid reader, and I've read all of the books of Nelson DeMille. Are you familiar with him?
No.
He's a very great author, and he wrote a series of books about the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which I understand that you're a member of, and I'd like you to talk about that a little bit because I find this absolutely fascinating.
Well, I was asked to go in the FBI Joint Terrorist Task Force because I had a lot of information on domestic terrorism. The Black Liberation Army had killed my friends. I had locked up a guy who killed my friends, and it was just nothing but death and shooting. And I used to keep records. I used to take, years ago, people had little address books. I used to take their address books. I take everything. And all these, like the FBI and big detective divisions would call me up. Hey, Jimmy, you have any information on this guy? Do you have any information on that guy? So I was asked to win the Joint Terrorist Task Force. So I started in the surveillance team. Then I went into the domestic terrorist team. And then I wound up in the international team, and it's just, I'm a street guy. These guys go to the best colleges, and they listen, it's crazy. The FBI guys, at noon, they all brush their teeth. The cops are eating hero sandwiches. They're getting meatballs and tomato sauce all over their shirt. These guys everything's just perfect,
You guys have the street smarts.
Yeah, and the combination is good because they're very black people, and they bury you with paper. You get locked up by the feds, they bury you with paper. But on the street, they're lacking because they come from all over the country. But if you get guys that know the street, it's like a 1-2 punch combination. It works well. And one story that's in the book is that the Russian ballet, the Moishev Ballet, was in New York City, and they had 1 million, because it was the Soviet Union at that time, the Cold War, and the ballet's in Lincoln Center, and they're staying at the Penta Hotel, the old Pennsylvania hotel, and there's 1 million cops all around, and then they had security, and then they had detectives. They looked like Times Square around this building, to protect them. Next thing you know, smoke is billowing out of the building.
Oh my God.
And the Moishev Ballet comes running out, and they got like towels and rags over their face for the smoke, and they're like cursing in Russian at us. Like, you had to let this happen because nobody can penetrate this wall of people that you have here, right?
I guess.
Yeah, so I'm standing there, and I see this guy who's a known terrorist. To me, I recognize him. So there's one detective and one agent, FBI agent, who had that case. And I said to them, listen, this looks like this guy, Victor Vancityurban. No, they said, that's not him, just like poo-pooed me, So there was another agent there, this guy, Hank Vera, and I said, Hank, listen to me. I think it's this guy. He said, I'll go with you, Jimmy. So I run, and he went down the subway station. You can go to the right, you can go to the left. So I told Hank, go to the right, I'll go to the left. So as I'm running, there's different trains pulling out. All of a sudden, I see who I think is this guy. So I jumped the turnstile. I got my gun out, and I said to him, what's your name? He says, Victor Vancityurban. I told him, get on the fucking wall.
Nice.
I put him on the wall, and I got my gun, I tell him, if you fart, I'm going to blow the back of your head off.
That's the title of my next Lee Hackland.
Yeah, right?
All right, I'm going to use that.
Seriously.
Yeah, I said,
That's going to be that's the name of our next book. If you fought, I'm going to blow your head off.
That is money in the bank.
I love it.
Go ahead.
I said,
That'll be
finish the
option for
story.
a movie lickety split.
I said, you have anything on you you're not supposed to have? He said, I have a hand grenade in my pocket. So, you know what I mean? Again,
I'm glad to see you.
I put the scare of God into him again with the threat. Hank comes running by, the FBI agent. He said, is it Vancityurban, Jimmy? I said, it is. I said, does he have anything on him? I said, yeah. So I flipped the hand grenade at Hank, and he grabs like, whoa!
Nope, pin was in.
The pin was in and he caught it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was the arrest I made the terrorist task force. Again,
Hey, Jimmy, are you going to finish the story, or you want?
I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Done?
Okay. The end is typical of what we were some of what we were talking about before. So now he's got the arrest. He's got the guy, and the detective and the agent who said to him before, "No, that's not him. You're crazy. That's not him." They come over, and they say to Jimmy, "You got him?" He goes, "Yeah." They said, "Okay, we'll take it from here." He says, basically, "The fuck you will. This is my arrest."
Right.
So anyway,
because you were the only one that recognized him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, all those little books that you took and everything, that's the little finite details that give you the edge by making the extra work.
Right.
Yeah? Preparing.
It's your job. It also becomes like a hobby, too.
Right.
I mean, you collect, you try to put these people with those people.
Yeah.
You know? So it worked out well, and it would have been an international incident.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I mean? Because it was a Cold War at that time.
Yeah.
And this guy has done it before.
You prevented World War III. Thank you. Okay, my next question is for Michael. Michael, you're a very prolific author. And another one of your books, I hope I'm not mistaken, my printing is terrible. Friends of the Family, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that book, please?
I will. And ultimately, I got to tell you, as part of that story, there's a tie-in to Jimmy as well at some point. So
cool.
I'll get to that. So Friends of the Family is about two New York City detectives who basically were owned by the mob. They were working for the mob, doing murders for them, giving information to them, tipping them off to informants, and that kind of thing. And they were working for the Lucchese crime family, and they were working for a guy named Gaspipe Casso, who was the second in command in the family. And he hated that name, Paul. Hated it. Anybody who called him Gaspipe, he hated. And it came from
like a Dick Tracy villain.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it came from his father, who used to break off the muffler pipes from cars, the gas, and use that as weapons when he was collecting debts for the mob back, in the 30s and 40s. That's where the name. Yeah. So Gaspipe worked, and so what happens is we are able to. They have Gaspipe is almost killed by a rival mobster, John Gotti. You may have heard of him. And,
sure.
He is, right. Paul Gaspipe sets up a murder to kill Gotti. Gotti is not present, and they wind up killing somebody else. Gotti hears this and now sets up the idea that he wants to kill Gaspipe. So what he does is he hires 4 thugs, and they follow Gaspipe around, and he stops at a traffic light in Brooklyn at one point. And while he's there, he looks over, and the 4 guys take guns out and shoot into his car. Luckily, he was able to get down. He only is partially injured. He crawls out of the car and down into the basement of a Chinese restaurant in the neighborhood, and waits and calls and waits until everybody is gone. Right. So now Gaspipe now has this vengeance on his mind, and he now not hires because he already had them on his payroll, the 2 cops to find all 4 of the guys who was it in those cars, and they find out who it was. One of them was a kid who lived with his mother and brother in Staten Island. And the cops find out who he is, and they go to his mother's house and knock on the door and say, "Is your son home?" And she says, "Well, my son's right there. He's coming up the walk." It was the brother, not the guy he wanted. So they leave, And they get some information. Oh, they ask the brother, where's your brother? Where's the guy we're looking for? And they say, he's very important. He's not in trouble. They lie to him so that the brother tells him he's in Brooklyn at this particular location. So they go there, and sure enough, they find him. They put him in a car, and instead of bringing him to the police station, they bring him to a location, tie him up, and put him in a trunk, and then drive him to the parking lot of a big supermarket kind of store in Brooklyn. And who meets him there but Gaspipe and his boys, and they take him out of there and bring him to a house in Brooklyn owned by another wise guy, bring him into the basement and pummel him, beat the hell out of him, and finally kill him. They kill him, and they bring him. So now they have to get rid of him. And where did they bring him? They knew that there was a big housing development was being built in the neighborhood. And they go to the housing development, the wise guys do, and they knew the guard, the guy who was on guard that night, and they were able to bury the kid in the ground in this housing development. And then a couple of days later, the cement trucks came, and they never found him again.
Right.
So
right.
The mother of this kid, after she saw these two, one of the cops, on a TV talk show. He wrote a book called Mafia Cop, of all things. His father and his uncle were wise guys. He became a cop, but he was a wise guy as well, only he had a uniform on. So he wrote a book. He went on a show called Sally Jesse Raphael, a talk show.
Yeah, I remember her.
The glasses.
Right.
Yeah.
And the mother saw him on there, bought the book, opened it up, and there were pictures in there, and the second cop's picture was in the book as well. So she went to the FBI. Nobody wanted to hear it because they didn't believe her. She went to various places. Finally, she gave up until a detective, who's a friend of mine, Tommy Dades, his name is, Jimmy knows him as well, had the case of the brother was killed as well, and he had that case. And so he got to know the mother. One day, during the investigation, the mother calls him up and says, listen, come talk to me. This has been bothering me for a long time. And she tells him the story of the two cops coming looking for her older son. He didn't know that story before. Nobody ever knew that story before. So he comes to me. He walks in my office. I had done several cases with him. And I knew these two cops because I had a position in the police department at one point to prosecute cops for violations of their rules and procedures. So this guy's name was Ippolito. And Tommy comes into the office and he says, Mike, want to have a shot at getting Ippolito? I said, yeah, why? What happened? He tells me the story of the mother. So now we have to start an investigation, basically from scratch. And what actually breaks the case is another sad story. Go back to that story with the guys in the car that Gaspipe hired to kill. That Gotti hired to kill Gaspipe. One of them, the cops search on the police computer for his address. They get a name, they get an address, and Gaspipe sends two wise guys to this block in Brooklyn Christmas morning. This kid is outside showing his brand new car to his uncle. They're in the car, and the car pulls up, and they open fire, and the kid jumps on top of his uncle, saves his uncle, and he gets killed.
Oh, man.
It's the wrong guy.
Oh,
it's not one of the guys that was in the car. Same name, area, everything, but it's the wrong guy.
Wow.
So we take the case, and ultimately, this is, again, I'll never get over this. We break it, and the feds steal it from us. They steal it from us. They take it from us and tell us that, we could get more out of it, et cetera, et cetera. And they made no bones about it, that they were going to do it. And basically you can worry about it another time, but this is going to be our case. And they tried it. They convicted both of the cops. So that was another one of the stories that's in Crooked Brooklyn. And it's so it was just to go back, it was a 6-year or 7-year period where I was doing corruption after corruption after corruption cases involving all kinds of politicians, judges, and cops, and that was one of them. So it was that's Friends of the Family, the story of that particular case.
You know, you do need to contact Martin Scorsese, right? get a movie deal, because this is a franchise.
Well, it's funny you say that, Johnny, because I was just watching, if you don't mind, gentlemen, I was just watching the YouTube interview by another one of your friendly, I think he was a retired sergeant, and he has his own YouTube channel, I believe. And he interviewed you in the same room you're in, except the couch was blue, I think.
Yeah, it could have been.
A couple years ago.
My wife and I moved couches around.
And look, he said that two of your stories have been optioned already by Hollywood.
Congratulations!
I was just about to tell you. You know how many
Oh
times
yeah, sorry. Okay.
Friends of the Family. I sold the book 4 times.
Wow.
And it never got made. We sold the next book, Crooked Brooklyn, 5 times.
Wow.
And something has always happened. So, but although I have to say that without bragging or without wanting to jinx myself, Crooked Brooklyn is back. Maybe close to what we.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
We have to check that out. Okay, let's move forward. My next question is for Jimmy. You became a prison minister. You're a prison minister now. We talked about that before. What led you to this decision to change careers?
Kind of a long story, but it was not a career. It was a volunteer type thing. And my friends asked me to give it a shot, try it. And I tried to explain to them that you have no idea what these guys are. I know what these guys are. I've had them in my house. I've had them on the street. And how am I going to go in and try to help these people? But they needed one more guy. So, oh, man. So I wind up going in. And it was a federal prison. And there was 41 of us and 41 of them. And there was a big circle. And everybody had to stand up with a piece of paper. And you had to say your name and who you are. So my turn came. And I said, my name is Jimmy Dennedy. I'm married to my wife, Norleen. I have 2 kids. You know what I mean? I'm retired from New York City Police Department. And they booed me. And man, this is going to be a long weekend. Because we have to sleep up there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, man.
So the next day, we're at the table. You have a certain amount of inmates around you, And they were great. They were like guys from my neighborhood, and I related to them. And the prison says never call them an inmate. They always call them a resident. Never ask them what they did. I used to tell them, what you did? What are you, stupid? And then you mix that with spirituality. You know what I mean? And you kind of try to make them see, it's not the right way. And they get to. It turned out to be 2 days a week for 25 years.
Oh, and that long.
And we did time together. That's right. We have time together, and they really appreciate you. I'm believe me, I was their enemy. They used to had a nickname. They used to call me the dentist.
You really walked the lion's den.
Yeah. But they just for some reason it was like 2 opposite poles of a magnet. It just seemed to work. And we had really, really, really good results with hard guys. I mean, these guys are murderers. These guys are Irish guys, bank robbers, armored car guys, wise guys, gangbangers from the Bronx. Just a mix of different people. And most of them, even the wise guys, have the same problem, either no father figure or very, very bad father figure. And one of the guys, a big, tall, black guy, asked my wife, because I'm up at the federal prison, after the retreat weekend on Sunday, some of them never get visits, so they have people come in. Volunteers can bring their wives, and a little party for these guys. And this big black guy asked my wife, can he be my father? I said, you got to be kidding me. You know what I mean? It's just, it's insane. It's insane.
Hey guys, he saved lives. He saved lives. Jimmy he really did. He changed them and he saved them. And
that's why they didn't mess with you, and that's why they liked you, right? That's why they trusted you.
Yeah, he doesn't bullshit them. He tells them exactly what needs to be told. And
I was going to say that you have to find a way to get through them, right? Somehow.
Very good.
And they need help. They can't get out of their own way. And I'm an analogy guy. I do work for all these lawyers, and I think in analogies. So I say, listen to this. You're all weightlifters. They're big, strong guys, I said, you're on the bench, you're lifting weights, right? And you can't get that last weight up. You can't get the last rep up there. They get hundreds of pounds,
Yeah.
It's going to crush your chest. But you have a spotter behind you. With 2 fingers, he lifts off and puts it on the rack, right? We're called to be each other's spotters. I'll be your spotter if you be my spotter.
Right.
That's
You know
very
what I mean?
sweet.
And that's the way it goes, That's the way it works.
Wow, it's nice to hear.
Michael, as I stated earlier, again, not to brag too much, but I'm also a writer. I'm very curious, just saying for the record. Okay. Anyway, you wrote a fiction book called Fallen Angel, a true crime fantasy. Is this the start of a series?
It is a series. It's 3 books. I'm writing book 4 right now. So,
Gotta check that out.
Can I tell you? You're going to ask me how I got the idea, because I really love this story. And it's a great.
We want to hear it.
When I came back to the DA's office after being in private practice, the DA hands me a case. It was a horrible case. A young Hasidic Jewish girl was walking on the Williamsburg Bridge, which is a bridge between Brooklyn and Manhattan, on a Sunday morning to lose weight. And she was set upon by a junkie on the bridge. He wanted to rob her. She had no money on her. And when he found out she had no money, he dragged her to a part of the bridge that was below the street, below the road level where the cars are. It was what they call it, a worker's pan, P-A-N, where the workers would leave their paint and tools and stuff. And he brought her down there, and he was so angry with her that he strangled her with her own scarf. When he got her on, she dropped to the ground, that wasn't enough. He took all of her clothes off, violated her with his hands to make it look as if a sex offender had done it, and then that night came back and set her body and clothes on fire. That was the case. It was horrific. And in my summation, I said to the jury, after detailing all of what I just told you with a lot more detail, I said it was as if the devil himself had come to Brooklyn to kill this young girl. Fast forward a few years. I wrote a few books, Crooked Brooklyn being one of them, with a partner, Jerry Schmetterer, and another book we did about called Behind the Murder Curtain, and we did another one called Homicide is My Business. Well, Jerry passed away, and Jerry and I became very, very good friends. And I sat in this chair one day and said, "What am I going to do now? I have? If you were here and you looked over to the corner behind to my side here, there are boxes filled with my summations from all of the cases I did and other files and stuff. I wanted to write a book of short stories, true crime short stories. I couldn't sell it to my agents. They said, no one buys it. No one will buy it. Find a way to tie it together. And I thought, and my idea of the devil came to my head. And I've written 3 books now called Fallen Angel. And the stories in the book the crimes are all instigated by Satan, but they were all crimes that I personally handled and did when I was a prosecutor, including the one that Jimmy made the arrest on. Of course, I fictionalized all of this stuff, and it was my way of continuing what I had done with Jerry. It was also my way of kind of saying, you're not out of the business completely. You're back in, and I love writing these stories. And the one thing that I like about it, one of many things, but one of the things I like is in real life, when you write a nonfiction, you have to do it. You have to be very careful. You have to do the research. You have to make sure that when you say this happened, it happened, right? Well, when you write a fiction book, you can fix things you don't like and make them come out a different way, So that's one of the things that I really like about it. So it's Fallen Angel 1, 2, and 3. I'm writing Fallen Angel 4 right now. I got about a quarter of the way through, and everything that you read in those books is something that I personally was involved in, either as the actual prosecutor or part of the prosecution team, but most of them are cases that I did myself. So.
Terrific. That is
so
incredible.
I don't have to go very far to find the information that I need. So
I'll have to pick that up. Okay, Jimmy, I have one more question for you, and then I think I'm done. What advice would you give to a young person who wants to be a police officer?
Wow. It's not the best job to take these days because, number one, it's not the greatest pay. And it used to be when I was on a job, you had to protect yourself. And the people on the street kind of feared you. You know what I mean? Because they know you didn't fool around, you meant business. Now, today, they spit at you. They throw snowballs at you. They put the cell phone in your face. Years ago, if somebody put something in my face, they'd be eating it. You know what I mean? That's just the way it was. I mean, that's the way.
Then.
Yeah. And you had to control the streets, and you know, you're honest. You're doing a good day's work, and you know, certain people only understand your heavy hand. Today, it's not that way, and they can sue you. They'll take your house. It's not a very desirable job anymore. So would I recommend it? Probably not. If you want law enforcement, go with the feds. They treat you better.
Interesting.
Great answer. So same question for you, Michael. What advice would you give to a young person who wants to be a prosecuting attorney or a district attorney or just a lawyer in general? What advice would you give?
Find the prosecutor who isn't a liberal and go to work for because in New York City, 5 prosecutors, 5 of them are all on the liberal side, take money from George Soros. And
that seems very ironic to me. I think because our prosecutors generally very conservative. No,
they're supposed to.
Really?
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I guess
this is what we always said as a prosecutor. What my boss always said: our job is not to win or lose. Our job is to do justice. And letting a bad guy out of jail, or not prosecuting someone, or prosecuting someone who did something that was not wrong, that's wrong. That is a horror. There was a case in New York City where a young former, I think he was a Marine, wound up on the subway, and he took down a guy who was harassing and beating people, hitting people on the subway. And it turns out that when he took him down, the guy passed out and then died because of being held in the way that he was held. But he had pre-existing conditions. He was not murdered. The DA in Manhattan charged this guy with murder.
The police officer.
Took him to trial. The police, the kid, yeah. Took him and put him on trial.
Hey,
so
Mike,
luckily,
the shooting in my house, they tried to indict me for attempted murder.
In your own house?
Right.
In my own house, I had to get a hold of Mike to go in the grand jury with me, you know, because they were looking to lock me up for attempted murder.
Unbelievable.
And the prosecutor in that case was a big liberal.
That's really gross.
Elizabeth Holton was her name. And when Jimmy called me, I knew the story about the burglary, and I said, "What, are you kidding?" So he says, "No, you gotta help me." But you know what he did? The easiest thing in the world to do is that I brought him in and I put him on the stand in front of the grand jury. I knew how he was, and I knew that he would tell the story in a way that would not result in an indictment. But the idea that a prosecutor would put a cop on the stand, would try to indict a cop who was protecting his family is totally ridiculous. And it's not as if he had a gun and the others didn't. The other guys had guns as well, and they were firing at him as well. So that's the reason why I say that. You have to have someone who cares about the law, doesn't care about politics, and calls it as he or she sees it. If you can find somebody like that who's a prosecutor or a DA, then go to work for that person.
Right.
That's terrific.
Well,
gentlemen, thank you so much. Those are all my questions.
Yeah. Wow. It's been a quick hour.
Bravo.
And did you want to talk about this? Your latest work of art? Is it out currently?
That's a Hard Guy's Cry.
Yeah.
The digital version of the book is out on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. The hardcover and softcover will be out on June 2nd.
Okay, right around the corner. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we have an event, a signing event, and a release event set up in a very popular bookstore here in New York City.
Oh, awesome.
And that's when it'll be out. It's called Hard Guy's Cry. It's the authorized biography of Jimmy Dennedy. That's the subtitle. And the stories that he was telling today, there are plenty more in there. And
that's awesome.
And to me, it's a terrific, terrific story, a terrific book about a terrific guy. So that's it. Hard Guy's Cry.
Yeah,
so,
love it.
Love it. Great title.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, Johnny, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to get an in with one of the publishers?
That would be awesome. Okay, I'll take the stage if you guys don't mind. I'm also an author. I write a series of detective stories. His name's Lee Hacklin, and he's a private investigator. His office is in Manhattan. He's in his 20s. I based him on Jan Michael Vincent. Do you remember that actor from the 1970s?
Yeah, I do.
That's who I have in my mind's eye when I write this character. He's a smoker, he's a drinker, he's a skirt chaser, but he has a heart of gold, and he likes to beat up bullies, buddies ever. Okay, this one is called Die Coast Guard. Here we go. Chapter 1. New York City, 1976. I was in my office. My one window, like so many of my fellow New Yorkers, was stuck in place, and the day was hotter than Talia Shire. Yo, Adrian, where's your hat? I was deeply immersed in my latest literary diversion, Batman Family number 6, which featured the debut of Dula Dent, aka the Joker's daughter. Great name for a superhero. Yes, dear reader, I'm being sarcastic. Geez Louise, they couldn't come up with a better name. How about Laugh Lass, the Clownette, Jokerella? The elevator down the hall was ominously quiet until it spoke. Forget about it, Lee. You're done. You might as well toss your license into the Hudson River. Don't worry, McDonald's is always hiring. Butterflies were dogfighting in my stomach. Worry is a waste of energy. I put my comic book down, lit a blue buzzard, that's the cigarette that I created for this character, and decompressed. Smoking is horrible. I'm certainly no advocate, but everything on this planet exists for a reason, and that includes tobacco. God, does this ever relax me? Was it worth a decade or two off my life? Nope. We reap what we sow. The elevator doors opened. Hallelujah. And 2 men stepped out. One walked confidently towards me office. I watch a lot of British sitcoms. The other walked as though he was made of metal and pulled by magnetic force. Life's a lot harder if we expect everyone to love us. They were dramatically unlike in appearance. The taller man was in his late 30s. He was Jack LaLanne level fit and smartly attired in a crisp, white-on-white United States Coast Guard uniform. The not as tall man was older, jowlier, and far more toupeed. Good grief, Charlie Brown. Some men are shackled by their hang-ups. The suit he wore, I hypothesized, was purchased at the Salvation Army. That's okay. I bought my desk at the Salvation Army. When I set up my office, I opened the top drawer and sucked wind. It was full of Cheerios and maggots. Let the buyer beware. And that's chapter 1. Lee Hacklin, private investigator in Die Coast Guard. Thank you so much.
And Lee Hacklin's favorite weapon is a Browning.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, the 911, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, and we usually like to finish up the show because we are talking about writers. We're all writers here to a lesser or greater degree, in your cases specifically. And Johnny, what are you guys reading anything, or are you too busy writing? Michael and Jimmy, do you guys have time to read in retirement?
We like to share books on the show.
Yeah. And I brought a book. Did you bring one, Johnny?
Yes, I have a book.
I'm going to do mine first because I've just been watching. This is a Scandinavian writer. And the character is, let me just put my glasses on. Sorry, guys. This is an international bestseller. It's a Harry Hole series.
Oh, right. I've heard
and he's got over 45 million books sold, and he's currently, one of his books is on Netflix right now. And he's a bit of a tough guy. He's got a bit of a problem with a lot of things, but he has a certain way of doing his job. And I haven't got into it yet, but I understand it is fantastic. Harry Hole, and it's called Knife.
Sounds like the name of a porn actor.
Sorry, what was that, Michael?
I said Joe Nesbo has a lot of books. He's the pretty prolific writer.
Yeah, prolific.
Okay, I'm reading.
I like David Baldacci's books. Go ahead. I'm sorry, John. Finish.
No, he's a great writer. Okay.
Sorry, who was that? David Baldacci?
Yeah, he's very prolific writer.
David Baldacci, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's got many different characters.
All right, cool.
Okay, gentlemen. I'm a huge nerd. I'm a 60-year-old nerd. I'm proud of it. I'm reading Kingdom Come by L.E.S. Megan. It's set in the DC universe. It's a great epic story. What happens is all the superheroes that we all know, like Batman and Superman, they're all retired. And there's a new generation of superheroes. They're a bunch of kids, and they're punks. They have no morals. There's basically no difference between the heroes and the villains in this future world. And what happens is there's a battle going on, and one of the heroes, his powers are based on nuclear energy, and he gets split open during the battle, and Kansas is completely destroyed, which causes a world famine. So Superman and the other old school heroes, they come out of retirement to try to teach these young punks how to be heroes. It's so good, guys. You would not believe how well written this is. It's absolutely made for adults with these characters that were originally created for kids. It's so good.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Terrific.
Cheers.
Jimmy, what are you reading?
I'm reading church history.
That's a little more grown up.
It's the history of Christianity, and the guys in the prison ask questions. So I feel like a goalie, right? And I gotta just catch these questions, be able to answer them. You have an answer for these guys and have an accurate answer.
But they must love that, eh?
They do, and it's history.
Yeah.
I mean, it's history. It's not theology. It's history.
Got it. That's interesting. And to finish the show, gentlemen, it's been wonderful. And is there a possibility that you might be interested in coming back when the book's out and
sequel,
without a doubt,
and talking about it? Because Johnny and I have been talking about this. When he mentioned it, I was like, "You serious? These guys want to come on our show?"
I know, we were very surprised.
Yeah, I was like, "My God, we're just starting off, and we have a lot of room for growth." But yeah, it's just, and I know Johnny was like a kid in a candy store, so I'm really glad you guys joined us today. It's been fantastic, great stories, wonderful what you guys done. And one question before you go, if I may, and you probably get this question all the time, and I can't help but ask: with all the good that you guys did, was there ever a time when you started where you knew right from the very beginning that you were going to be the force of light, of goodness in the face of evil and darkness, and do the right thing, where so many people in your business, all different types of business, are so freaking corrupt, and having to have friends or even family members that are criminals or corrupt, and have to arrest your own family members or your own favorite police, someone that was in your crew even. Was there any hesitation, or was it always just very easy, cut and dry, black and white, good versus evil?
For me, it was very easy. My father was a hardworking guy, opened his own business, and when I became a lawyer and then became a prosecutor, he always said one thing to me: always do the right thing. Just do the right thing. You never have to worry about consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've never forgotten that.
Yeah.
And that's the way I operated from the time I became a prosecutor until today, doing this kind of stuff. So
that's fantastic.
So that's,
yeah.
Thank you for your service, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, really, you guys are just amazing. Everything that you've done, and all of the hope and help that you've given people over the years, and put away the people that needed to be put away. It's really quite remarkable. And even before that, with the armed forces and being a Marine, and fascinating story. It sounds like you guys just you could keep writing for quite some time, and please do.
Not everybody takes you guys for granted. A lot of people do,
Yeah.
and I'm very sorry about that, but we certainly don't.
No, not at all. We absolutely, we've been looking forward to this, and I just found out literally a week ago. And the last thing I'd like to ask for you gentlemen is, because I'm going to be making a thumbnail for this episode for next week or next 10 days or whatever. Do you have a recent photo of both of you guys together by any chance?
we don't have it together. We have recent photos separately. But
is there a possibility
on the Facebook? There's the two of us.
Would it be okay for me to use on Facebook to use one of the photos that is really good on the thumbnail?
There's the two of us.
Oh yeah.
The
two of us together facing.
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
that's what I meant. So I can put it on the thumbnail, right? So then people can get a face to your name, right? And because I really like to do good thumbnails since I figured out how to do it properly. So I just wanted to get your permission first, if that was all right.
I got a question. I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Right? Canadians or the Hurricanes? Who are you picking?
What
Neither.
I know about sports could fill the eye of a needle.
I'm picking the Knicks, and I'm picking the Knicks and the Spurs in the finals of the NBA. That's what I'm picking. Because Wemby's a freak of nature, man. That guy's incredible, eh? I mean, people don't realize at 7'5", he can stand literally under the 10-foot rim and grab it because his hands are so big. And someone said, if I put $10,000 on the top of the backboard, would you get it? And he went up and took it, but he gave the $10,000 back to his teammate and said, "Here you go." It's just the kind of dude he is. Like, it's really amazing. Sorry, I don't follow hockey anymore because we have the worst franchise in NHL's history, the Vancouver Canucks. They're just terrible, and I got tired of it. I saw my first NBA game when I was 4 years old in 1971, 70. Well, it was 69-70. and it was their first championship, the Knickerbockers' first championship with Walt Clyde, the Glide. And I saw it it was on ABC, and I had one of those old TVs in the early 70s. It was a massive TV, but it just had a screen like this with three knobs, and there was like 4 channels. And ever since I watched that first game, I've been a Knickerbocker fan since. And this is
Paul actually played basketball professionally. He was in
I did play professionally. Yeah, about 27 years.
Have us back. We could talk more about Hard Guys Cry as for the whole.
Oh, that would be great. Let's do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny.
We like to end the show with a pun. We like to end the show on a light note. We've been talking about some pretty heavy stuff. So here we go.
Yep.
I got this on the internet today. Ants never get sick because they have little antibodies. You all.
Oh, hey, you got 3 yays and 1 boo. Come on.
That was funny, right? No?
Yeah, no, it was good. Johnny, listen, some of them are bad, but with your writing skills, I think you need to write your own, bro. Or at least take the better ones. Anyways, gentlemen, I just wanted to say on behalf of Johnny and I, thank you very much for joining us on the Canadian Bro Show. It's been a wonderful episode and really enjoyable having you guys. We're definitely going to have you back. We look forward to it. And it's nice to meet a couple of real good guys. I mean, I'm telling you, there's so much madness in this world. This world's so freaking corrupt. And Johnny and I are just like the cleanest white dudes you've ever seen in your life. I've never had a parking ticket. I've never had a DUI. I've got 37 years of safe driving. I've never been arrested. I think I've been very fortunate, but I can't speak for Johnny because he used to be a hardcore criminal until he lost 80 pounds. No, I'm joking.
I'm my lawyer.
Oh, here we go. Always doing the lawyer up. But in the meantime, I just want to say to everyone that's watching the episode, thank you very much for joining us. And we really appreciated this opportunity to talk to these incredible gentlemen, and what they've done in their careers have been nothing but positive and helping people out. And thank you kindly, gentlemen. We look forward to having you back. I am going to wrap things up and going to finish an hour and 7 minutes. Perfect timing. We will be finishing. So thanks again, Michael, Jimmy, Johnny, and Pauly at the Canadian Bro Show, episode 74. And more coming from these gentlemen in the future. What an excellent episode. Thanks kindly, everybody. And just to finish up, one last thing. Please try to be kind out there. Do something nice without expecting anything. Help somebody out. Make their day. Make their year. Kindness is one of the most... It's free. It's easy. And you could change somebody's life or world in one simple gesture. And this is how the planet needs to be. But anyways, I'm going to end the episode, gentlemen. Thanks again, and we will talk to you sooner than later. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Let's be careful out there.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.